There is an ancient custom which is still prevalent today in the Jewish world, that when a person buys a book, a sefer, a Jewish book, they write at the beginning of the book, Lamed Hey Vav, which is an abbreviation which stands for the words LaHashem Haaretz Umlo'ah, that to God is the world and its fullness. And then they write their name. Where does this come from? And if we go back in time a few hundred years, there's a famous book called the Sefer HaChasidim, the Book of the Pious, written by a great German rabbi, Rebbe Yehuda HaChassid. And he says in this book that when a person buys a book or an object, they should not write in the book, Shelihu, this is my book. Rather, they should just write their name, or they should write this phrase, LaHashem Haaretz Umlo'ah, that to God is the world and its fullness. What is the meaning behind this custom? And I think that the answer is in this week's parasha. The parasha is discussing the very difficult topic of tzarat. Tzarat was a type of a disease, often translated as leprosy, which afflicted somebody, or perhaps their garment, or even their house. It had terrible consequences. It was painful. It also caused impurity. And in the case of a person, in order to become pure again, they would have to be quarantined outside of the house or outside of the city. In the case of the house, a person would see growing on the walls of their house this leprous plague, streaks of different colors. They would come to the Kohen and they would say, it looks like this leprous curse is in my house. The Kohen would come, he would examine it, but before he would examine it, he would say to the person, you know what? Before I come, your house is still pure, and everything in it is still pure. So you better clear out your house. Because if I come first and I tell you that it's impure, then everything in the house is impure, and that's going to cause you a great financial loss. So first clear out your house, and then I'll come and I'll see the house. And this is exactly what happened. What is the meaning behind this? Why is it that a house would contract leprosy? What is the meaning behind it? And our sages point out as follows, that when the Torah describes the house owner coming to the Kohen, it uses these words, Uva asher lo habayit, that the person who owns the house comes to the Kohen and says, Kenega nira li babayit. It appears to me as if there is this leprous curse in my house. The Torah is emphasizing that the person says, it's my house, this is my home. And from here they saw that the reason why leprosy would come on a home is because a person was possessive. They were stingy. They were a Scrooge. They were not prepared to share anything. And it gives us a little bit of background, that this person was a wealthy person. They had a lot in their home. Their neighbor would knock on the door and they would say, excuse me, I wonder if you could help. I'd like to borrow, perhaps you have a spade for me. And the person would say, I'm sorry, I don't have any spade. Slam the door. Another neighbor would come and say, excuse me, but perhaps I'd like to borrow a saw. He'd say, I don't have any saw. Slam the door. And that was it. He was stingy. He was a Scrooge. He wasn't prepared to lend out that which he was his. Suddenly the plague would start developing in his home. He would come to the Kohen and the Kohen would say, okay, I'll come and see your home, but before I do that, make sure to clear everything out. Now this person was in a big predicament. He would have to take out everything from his home, put it out on the front lawn. But then all of the neighbors would see that actually he did have a spade and he did have a saw. And his stinginess would be exposed for all to see. And therefore this plague of tzarat would come upon him, and eventually, if it was not cleared up, the entire house would have to be demolished. And I think this is what Rebbe Yehuda HaChassid is telling us in this ancient custom. Don't view your objects as mine. They are my objects. I own them. I don't share them. That's not the Torah way. That's not the Jewish way. God gives you your property, but he gives it to you as a pikadon. It's a deposit. And he says to you, you know what? Here's this money. I'm depositing it with you. And I want you to go out and share it with others. Yes, I'm going to give you some of that money to use for yourself, to raise your family, to educate your family, to be involved in your community. But that money is a pikadon. That's a deposit. It's not your money. It's for you to share with other people. And therefore, when a person buys something, and in particular, a book of Torah, the Torah belongs to everybody. It was taught to us for free. How dare you write in your book, Sheli, this is my book. Yes, it may be purchased with your money, but LaHashem Haaretz Umlo'ah, everything in the world belongs to God. And really you should share it with others. And that's what the Mishnah tells us in Pirkei Avot, that a person who says, Sheli, Sheli, v'shelcha, Shelcha, what's mine is mine, and what's yours is yours, that is the attribute of the people who lived in Sodom and Gomorrah. They were spiteful. They were stingy. They didn't want to share their incredible bounty with others. And ultimately, their entire house and the entire city was destroyed. But what is a chassid? What is a pious person? That is a person who says, Shelcha, Shelcha. What's yours is yours. I don't want to take from you. But Sheli, Shelcha. What is mine is yours to share. I wish you a Shabbat Shalom.